Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Hari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Hari Yasoda Nandana Vajrajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vajrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Rad Amadava Kunja Vihari Jaya Rad Amadava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Hari Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari. So we will read today from the Transcendental Diary, Volume 4, Chapter 3, about Hyderabad. Oh, they left me a sheet here. They wrote all of my good qualities on it, and I'm supposed to read them to you. Let's see. They start with, there's nothing here. Oh, well, I'll have to depend on Krishna for something. I'll have to depend on all of your devotional qualities, since I don't seem to have any here. But I'm connected to people who do. All right. August 17, 1976. Anyone not born yet for that? You were all born, not born, right? Okay. The very first thing this morning, Srila Prabhupada decided it would not be suitable to stay at Mr. Bhadruka's house. We packed and left right after bathing. We arrived at the temple at daybreak, and it gave us a chance to see the place clearly. It is impressive. The land was donated by Mr. G. Pula Reddy, and although it is only 950 square yards, the building covers 90% of it. Its location is excellent in the central part of the city. It is hardly 10 minutes from the main railway station. Srila Prabhupada's quarters are on the first floor at the back of the building. Despite the fact that work is still going on, and that cement, dirt, and dust are everywhere, and the noise of construction is all pervasive, Prabhupada moved right in. The room was so dirty, I had to sweep it out while Prabhupada sat and watched. Somehow the local devotees could not arrange to have it cleaned before he came, but Prabhupada does not seem to mind. His main concern is that they organize a successful opening of the temple. Settling into this room, 16 by 12 room, he smiled and told us, "It is better to stay at one's own place than someone else's. In India, even a poor man, may be forced to eat somewhere else, but he must have his own place to stay. Otherwise, all respect is lost. He can eat at some other place every day, but he will return to his own place for rest." He said the Indian system is so nice. Even one's enemies may be treated as guests and given everything. Then he added with a smile, although to get rid of an unwanted guest, one simply doesn't feed them. He explained that one does not eat or stay in another's place more than 3 days in a row. I guess I better move on, huh? Otherwise, one becomes an unwanted guest. One actually loses all status as a guest and becomes a resident. See, this Prabhupada had a nice place to stay at Mr. Badruka's house. So why did he want to move to the place where it was a very small room and it was all dusty? Why would he do that? He didn't know? Or he wanted to be close to the temple and the devotees? That was more important. Would we rather stay here next to the deities and the devotees, or go out to Zimbali with a great big house but no deity? You could go there and worship yourself, right? People rather be here with Krishna than be in the comfortable situation, and Prabhupada was showing that. We quickly familiarized ourselves with the layout. Next to Srila Prabhupada's sitting room, there is a slightly larger reception area, and adjoining this, 2 servants' rooms. Toilets and showers on all floors are within a separate building at the back and connected by a short bridge. If utility is the principle, it has certainly been applied effectively here. Every inch of space is used. Saurabh Das did the original design, and later Murti Das worked with some local architects to finalize the details. Much of the decorative carvings were designed by Ganapati Stapati from the Endowments Department of the state government. At the basement level, there are offices, a prasadam hall, deity paraphernalia rooms, and a deity kitchen. The ground floor is taken up by the temple room, plus the deity room, parikram path, and main kitchen. The temple room is big enough to hold at least 800 people and extends so high that the first floor of the building is actually a mezzanine to it. The first floor, apart from Srila Prabhupada's rooms, houses the Brahmachari ashram. The top floor has 6 rooms for brahmacharis, guests, and life members. Dominating the building is the 60-foot-high dome, designated as a replica of the Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan, and capped with a Kailash from Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu. For structural reasons, it could not be placed directly over the deities, and it sits on the center of the roof. So now Prabhupada has gone to Hyderabad. This was Andhra Pradesh, but I think now it's in Telangana, right? Is Hyderabad in Telangana now? They split the state in half, and they created a new state there. But it's in the states of South India. There's Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and Goa and Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Srila Prabhupada gave class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 20.395 at 7:30 a.m. in his room. Construction work prevented the use of the temple room. The verse appropriately got us in the mood of Janmashtami, for in it, Lord Chaitanya explains to Sanatana Goswami the eternal nature of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Nitya Lila means everlasting pastimes. Prabhupada told us our Lila, material, that is not Nitya Lila. Whatever I am acting by this body, it is not Nitya, it is temporary. I am the son of such and such family. I am such and such important person. My name is such and such. My position is such and such. These are not Nitya, this is temporary. As soon as the body is finished, everything is finished. Then another Leela. I am such and such dog. I am such and such this and that. With the change of body, our Leela is finished. Therefore, ours is Nitya Leela. But Krishna's, Bhagavan's activities, they are Nitya Leela. Krishna's Vrindavan Leela is going on. To illustrate this point, he used the oft-repeated example of the sun continuously traversing the sky. Just as is it now 7:45 in Hyderabad, he said as the sun moves, it will be 7:45 somewhere else. Thus, the time of 7:45 is permanent. This is a crude example, Prabhupada told us. The example is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to explain what is the meaning of Nitya Leela. Just like we are opening the temple, this is also Nitya Leela. In some Brahmanda, there is another opening ceremony of temple. When tomorrow we shall open, day after tomorrow it is opened, but day after tomorrow in some other Brahmanda it is being opened. Again it is finished. In another Brahmanda it is being opened. In another Brahmanda it is being opened. There is no end. This is called Nitya Leela. In some Brahmanda Krishna is born. Janmastami, it is finished here. In another Brahmanda, another Janmastami. Every minute, this is the pastimes of Krishna. Now here's an interesting thing. We see here the importance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because many people read the Vedas and they hear about the transcendental meditation that went on in the Satya Yuga, and the Lord comes in a white form to show how to do this transcendental meditation for thousands of years. Anybody here sat down and meditated for thousands of years in this lifetime? I didn't think so. The next Yuga, the Treta Yuga, the Lord comes in red color and he teaches the big sacrifices, the Agnihotra Yajna, where they put in metric tons of grain and ghee. And in the third Yuga, Dwarka Yuga, the worship of deities is the main process. And so sometimes people are thinking to do those. You have many Brahmins who do a puja package for people but don't chant the holy names. So in this age, we know that Chaitanya comes. This time, in the Kali Yuga, the incarnation of the Lord comes in golden color. And most of the time, who is that incarnation? It's Gaur Narayan. 999 times out of 1,000, the Vishnu form comes to perform the Harinama Sankirtan, which is, of course, the process for this age. And one time out of 1,000, after Krishna comes in the original form, we're talking that the cycle of ages is 4,320,000 years, and a day of Brahma is 4,320,000,000. So the 1,000 cycles means that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna come in their original form. It's actually every 8,640,000,000 years, because there's a nighttime of Brahma, which is the same, 4,320,000,000 years. So what does that tell you? It means if Lord Brahma says, I'm going to rest for the evening, wait right here, don't wait, because you'll have to wait 4,320,000,000 years. We don't have that much time. So this is why coming the line of Lord Chaitanya, the different incarnations are important. Rama is important, Nrsimha, Varaha, Gaur Narayan was important in other ages. But in this age, Lord Chaitanya is directly telling us about Krishna Leela and shows his disciples how to perform the Harinam Sankirtan and teaches us what is relevant for this age. So this is a special mercy to be connected to the incarnation of Krishna. And this is why we are very intent on distributing the literatures that explain what Krishna said 5,000 years ago and what Lord Chaitanya said 500 years ago, because it has to be relevant for time, place, and circumstances. Just like the snowplow may be relevant in Norway and Sweden in January, but the chance of it snowing in Durban to the degree that the roads will be closed in January is very slight. 0 or less, right? If it snows here at all, it won't be in January, will it? Sometimes they get some hail, but it melts right away. You won't have road closures. So to get out the snowplow equipment, which is very practical in Norway and Sweden in the winter, would not be very practical here. So in the same way, to do the big sacrifices and to rely only on the deity worship when not the holy names is not practical in this age. Because Lord Chaitanya says that he's invested all of his transcendental energies in these holy names. So that's where we do our investing. So what else is being said here? Here's another interesting point. He says it's 7:45 here, and thus it will be 7:45 somewhere else. It's amazing. It's almost 7:45, right? But if the time is going that it's 7:45 now, in 15 minutes by the clock, where will it be 7:45? What? Where will it be? So how can it be 7:45 somewhere else? By the clock, it will be 8 o'clock. Next time zone, it will be 9 o'clock. So, did Prabhupada say something wrong? Why is he saying it will be 7:45 somewhere else? This is something most people don't even know about the time. You know why? That's standard time. Standard time, they take the whole zone of 1,600 kilometers, and from the beginning of it to the end of it is the same time. But if you go 400 kilometers east, it's actually, say it's still 7:45, it's actually 8 there, and you go 400 kilometers west, and it's actually 7:30 there. But by standardized time, it says 7:45 in all of it. So Prabhupada isn't talking about standard time, he's talking about actual time. By actual time, every 25 kilometers east is 1 minute later. That's how this is possible. Otherwise people think, well, it's 8 o'clock. Nowhere in the world does the clock say 7:45. But this is by the actual time. Bhagavatam even goes down to time according to the atom. So if 25 kilometers is a minute, then what would it be like to the atom? That means 1 kilometer is like 2.4 seconds. 1 kilometer that way is 2.4 seconds later, which means the time from one atom to the next is going to be incalculable to the infinitesimal degree that it is, right? Because we're talking that 1 second is going to be, if it's a kilometer is 2.4, so 1 second would be about 400 feet. 400 feet is 1 second later. So this is time according to the atom. That's according to the second. So according to the atom, how many atoms are there in 400 meters? Quite a few, right? So you have to divide the 400 meters by the atom, right? We're talking 1 meter would be 400th of a second. That's the time from 1 meter to the next, 400th of a second. And Bhagavatam calculates it down to the atom. But nobody here has a watch that does that. Let's see here. So he's talking about another Brahmananda that is going on. He then cautioned the devotees to be always conscious of the sanctity of the temple. Wherever Krishna likes, he can bring in Vrindavan and he can have his pastimes. So this temple, do not think that it is Hyderabad place. No, it is Goloka Vrindavan. You should be very careful. Arajo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanya Eta Dhammam Vrindavanam. As Krishna is worshipable, similarly his place is also worshipable. Not that his place is different from him, no. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Sri Vigrahara Dhananichananam Shringara Tanman Diramajanado. As the worship of the deity is important, similarly to keep the temple very cleansed, very attractive, that is also deity worship. Those who are here working, they should keep this temple as clean as possible. Then Krishna will be satisfied. Krishna's body, this temple. Do not think it otherwise. Temples should be worshipped in that way. Therefore I ask you not to come with shoes. Even the temple is not open. It is still Krishna's temple. It is not different from Krishna. You should always remember that. The temple management very nicely means to render service to Krishna. So we are going to open this temple. Those who are in charge, they must take care of the temple, cleanliness. Tan mandira majanado. The more we have got men, engage them. And do not think that temple cleaning and temple worshipping are different. Do not be envious that this person has been given the in charge of decorating the deity, and I have been given to wash the temple where there are no deity. No, it is the same thing. There is no difference. It is spiritual. Just like either you worship Krishna's lotus feet or you offer a garland to Krishna on his head, it is the same thing. It is no such thing that this is head and this is tail. No, this is absolute conception. So Bhagavan, his Leela, his form, his pastimes, his place, they are all Bhagavan. While urging us to try to understand Krishna, he cautioned that it is not an easy thing. Bahumam Gyan Manante. After many births and deaths, if one is fortunate, he can understand Krishna. So don't lose a single moment. Try to understand Krishna. Agama Purana from Shastra. Don't manufacture. Here it is said, Tate Lila Nitya Kahe Agama Purana from Shastra. Shruti Smriti Puranadi. Without reference to the Vedic literature, the knowledge of Krishna is simply disturbance. So you should always refer to the Shastras. The Shastras are there by Krishna's grace. It is now available in the English language. Be always engaged in studying, in rendering service, understanding the philosophy. Then life will be successful. Thank you very much. This is something to understand, is that sometimes people speculate about Krishna. And some people say, well, we want to be in a relationship with Krishna. So the best thing is I go to Radhakund, hearing aids and all, jump in the Radhakund, and I force Radha and Krishna to allow me to enter into their Leela. The goal is to go into Radha and Krishna's Leela, correct? So the best thing is jump into Radhakund and force yourself right away. Just like if you have a child that says they want to be an airline pilot, do they have to qualify themselves first, or you take them down to the Safir and put them in the pilot seat? Would other people be unhappy about this? This is why somebody has to be qualified to give knowledge. There are so many people who speculate, and they give ideas that sound good. And the Prakriti Sahajas imagine that they're in Krishna's Leela, meaning it's cheap. Well, it must be better as cheap, right? Why buy property in America when I can get you property cheap in Namibia? I'll give you property in Namibia at a very discount price. Just like people say, I'll give you your relationship with Krishna, and you can pretend that you're a gopi. Now, what is the problem with that and with Namibia? They're both given cheaply. So that's good, right? So what is the problem? That you pretend you're in a relationship with Krishna, and you bought property in Namibia. What is the problem with these things? What is it? Neither one is real. Even if you got it at a good price, if you got it at half price, does that mean you saved 50%? No, it means you only lost 50%. And the problem is, it's just like if you're looking for a property and you think you have owned something, and then you go to Namibia to build, and it's very hard to build there because that country doesn't exist. So you don't need a permit, but you can't take building materials there because it doesn't exist. So we want to make sure that Krishna reveals himself to us, not that we decide that we're going to go into Krishna's Leela. Some people come along and say, well, Prabhupada didn't give it all to you. Let me give you the part that's missing. Just like Namibia. It all sounds good until you find out it's not real. And we find that in life. You know, now people get advice from all kinds of places. The one doctor is telling me people come to him and they say, I must have this because I checked it out on the internet and I seem to have all these symptoms. It's amazing how sick you can get yourself by checking out the symptoms. Oh my gosh, I have that. I must have this disease. So since he checked out on the symptoms of the disease, he doesn't really need a doctor, does he? Is that true? It's true? He found it online. He read about some symptoms, figures he must have them. Same thing with financial investments. You don't need someone to help you. Someone says they have a new stock. They want to sell it to you before it goes on the market. Just, I want to sell you the property in Namibia before it exists. Because once it exists, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So you better buy it now before it exists. Do people fall for these things? Yes. Some devotees think that since investments are gambling, I might as well do the most dangerous thing. That's not good thinking. The thinking is that if something is risky, you better figure out how to take the risk out to find what's tailor-made to you. Just like that snow plow. It's a beautiful piece of equipment, but not for here. So people need to wait until their relationship with Krishna is revealed. Just like in the medical field, and someone told me, take this pill, my doctor said it's good for diabetes. I said, but I don't have diabetes. So people are ready to give all kinds of advice, but the trouble is if they don't know. Like I can give you advice on cricket. You get out there and you hit the ball into the wicket. Is that good advice? I thought that was the goal of the sport. It turns out if you hit it into the wicket, you're out. Is that correct? So maybe you shouldn't take cricket advice from me, even though I learned something new. I know there's 11 players. I know there's a bowler and a batter. And I know Sachin Tendulkar was the best batter. And that's all I know. So, should I give you advice on which team to gamble on? No. We find someone who's qualified first. And of course, it's the same in spiritual life. People want to tell you so many things. Someone says they criticize devotees, even Prabhupada, on the internet. What do they criticize on the internet? Everything. Somebody criticizes everything. The Buddhist monks I saw, they walked across in the Peace March. Some Christian people criticized them by some verses in Bible, but they left out the other things about it. They went on a peace march, they got criticized. Amazing, isn't it? Some people are so good at criticism that they can even make up faults about you and criticize you for them. When they do that with people, then you must find out that they must not actually have any real faults if they have to make some up. So, after breakfast, Prabhupada called for Yasodhanandan and Mahamsa Maharajas, who were both growing their hair and beards on the plea of observing Chaturmasya. Srila Prabhupada told them it was inappropriate that they look dirty and clean on such an important occasion. His criticism had the desired effect, for they both left and immediately shaved their heads and faces. In the afternoon, Prabhupada went to the house. So does that end Chaturmasya? We don't grow beards? The ladies have an easy time following this, right? But the men have to be a little diligent to make sure a day might not make the difference. But in the afternoon, Prabhupada went to the home of Muchal Rao for the press conference. Mr. Rao received him reverently into his large house, inviting him to have a darshan of his deity, and then offered some refreshments. Soon reporters began arriving, and right on time at 5 p.m. it began out on the spacious lawn. It was well attended, with about 8 to 10 reporters present. Prabhupada began by explaining the purpose of his mission. Using Bhagavad Gita as the basis, he said that in this age, especially, everyone is identifying with this body. That's not true. Americans like me don't identify with the body. This is the basic principle of nationalism, communism, or this ism or that ism. And according to Vedic version, anyone who is identifying with this body, he is an animal. So under the circumstances, we are trying to revive the spiritual education of human society. That is Krishna consciousness movement. What is spirit soul? What is its identification? What is God? What is our relationship with Him? How to work on that plan? Then we become happy. Otherwise, we make various plans on material basis. It will never be successful, and there is no question of happiness. Stressing that Bhagavad Gita was the proper basis on which to build human civilization, he concluded by telling them the Krishna consciousness movement was India's culture. If we distribute this knowledge systematically, there are cultural departments, so the things are there. If we cooperate, government and public, then we can give to the whole world something which is very substantial. Then he opened the floor to questions. But it was he who took the offensive, and it was he who asked the first question. Politely but insistently, he told the reporters that Indians, including the reporters themselves, had no interest in their own culture, and he wanted to know why. He challenged them. Bhagavad Gita is there, but are you preaching Bhagavad Gita? Why don't you preach this great science? Why are you disinterested? Answer this question. Somewhat on the defensive, while trying to maintain a news reporter's neutrality, one asked, But how to make people realize the importance of Bhagavad Gita? Prabhupada spoke directly to him. If you don't realize, here is Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita was spoken in India. If you don't take interest, who can induce you? I am a layman. I do not know the importance, the interviewer began to reply. You are not a layman, Prabhupada cut in, not letting him off the hook. You are a representative of paper. A lively exchange ensued with the same reporter asking whether the teachings of Bhagavad Gita would come to India via the West. Srila Prabhupada replied forcefully, India is already there. You are neglecting. Why don't you admit that you are neglecting? Still trying to be neutral, the reporter asked. Will that neglect disappear through the West? How will that? Question. If you don't like it, how will it go? Prabhupada challenged him. Another reporter tried to come to the rescue. No, my colleague's point is that we have not been accepting. We are not able to understand Bhagavad Gita on our own, just because first Western people understand and because of their... But Prabhupada was insistent. No, you have neglected. My charge is that you have neglected. Bhagavad Gita is there. Bhagavad Gita is spoken in India. Bhagavad Gita is there. I think every home has got a Bhagavad Gita. But if you do not study it, you neglect it, that is your fault. The first reporter attempted a defense. No, that is because it is not part of the educational system. Because you have it, it is the first educational system, Prabhupada told him. No, but the system we have here, that you have induced, Prabhupada said, dismissing his excuse. That is your unfortunate case. The other reporter again joined in. No, that is because of historical reasons. We were ruined by a foreign. But Srila Prabhupada wasn't having any of it. If the subject matter of study you neglect, that is your negligence, your misfortune. The first interviewer became concessional, trying to distance himself from the argument. Now, how to rectify this? You can take it now, Prabhupada said. You are simply arguing. Why don't you take it? That means that you don't want to take it. There is the thing. But if you want, you can take it. If you don't want, then how we can help you? Having made his point, Srila Prabhupada eased off, allowing the reporters to question him. When one asked about the reaction the movement was receiving in India, Prabhupada recited the tens of thousands of people who attend our Pandal programs. He said that the Indian people are naturally inclined to know about Krishna, but the difficulty is that no one is interested to educate them systematically about him. Another reporter asked whether foreigners were taking to Krishna consciousness because it was a novelty. No, many novel things go there, but they are sticking to it, Prabhupada told him. They are now seriously taking to it. They understand that this is a great science, and we are publishing books. We have already published 84 books like that, 84 of 400 pages. And you'll be surprised that throughout the whole world, we are selling about $60,000 a day. That means 6 lakhs of rupees. That is the basic income for our expenditure. 102 centers all over the world. The reporters did not avoid the questions he had recently raised in Parliament concerning ISKCON. A central minister in Parliament recently said that he will conduct a probe to see if there's anything fishy in this. Sri Prabhupada was glad to have the opportunity to speak out publicly about it. Therefore, I am bringing before you. Before probing, you try to understand what is our income. We are selling these books 6 lakhs rupees a day, and we are spending it 50% for reprinting the books and 50% for expanding temples all over the world. This is our activities. Now you probe it or understand it. This is the only source of revenue for the society, the reporter asked. Yes, 50% for expanding temples, 50% for reprinting books. Prabhupada repeated. Do you have any other source, like donations or something like that for your movement? Very small. Mostly we have got a few classes of donation of land, few cases of donation of land and house. Not very large sum of money, never. But I thought the Ford family had given some huge donation. Ford, he has given us 3 houses, not donation. But we have purchased 2, 3 by the money of Alfred Ford. Alfred Ford, he's my disciple. Some members of parliament say the movement is in some anti-Indian activities. What do you? Prabhupada cut him off. So you are an intelligent man. Do you see what is that anti-Indian? We are spreading Indian culture. And this is anti-Indian? How foolish they are. Just see. We are spreading Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it is anti-Indian? Do you think like that? What if someone is using this as a cover-up? Another reporter asked. Prabhupada smiled ironically and shook his head. Huh? But if you have no eyes to see inside, you see the cover only. What can I do? As everyone laughed, he continues. If you are so blind, what can I do? Someone raised a question about our activities in communist countries, and Prabhupada replied that although many people were interested, it was a little difficult to start anything officially. Then Srila Prabhupada was asked what he saw in the reason for the advance of Marxism in the world. There are many so-called isms. If I go to criticize the study, it will take most of our time, he answered. Better positively present what you want. If you like, you can take it, that's all. When we become animal, then we manufacture so many isms. Those who are not fixed up, they have got so many isms. And those who are fixed up, they have got one ism, that is Krishna consciousness. Therefore Krishna says, Sarvam Prijajam Mam Ekam Saranam Vraja. We are teaching that. Krishna is infallible. We are not manufacturing anything. He is a supreme authority. But we have no faith in Krishna. Therefore we manufacture something other than Krishna. That is our misfortune. The reporter was a little astonished. You mean to say that any system that doesn't subscribe to this movement has no future at all? Prabhupada's answer was simple and direct. No. After a few more questions, Mr. Rao brought the conference to a close with a short speech praising Prabhupada highly. He at least was one politician who was willing to publicly promote Krishna consciousness, and Srila Prabhupada appreciated that. Mr. Rao told the members of the press, with the permission of Swamiji, my friends, I welcome you to my humble house. Today, though you are all very, very busy, but you have made it a point to come and listen to Swamiji speak to you, theory, lessons, and his belief and faith. It depends on how we take it. Because I have faith in him, I have faith in his teachings. That is why I became a politician. I, being the member of parliament and the legislative assembly, deputy minister and ambassador, I have requested and begged of him to come to my humble house to spread his knowledge, which he is giving to the other parts of the world. The journalist friends are my good friends, and they are very knowledgeable friends. That is why they chose to put out such questions. And by putting so many questions, we will get answers. By that, we are enlightened. He has given me something. I am a student of Bhagavad Gita. My Guruji is there. He is doing puja. He has given me something when I met him. When I heard him, he has given me Gupta Dana, hidden gift. That is Datavayan iti yadanam diyate nupakarane deshikati zapatichata danam satvikam shmitam So that is why he has given me something that indirectly Guptadana So I said always I should follow. Unfortunately, I could not meet him. Until recently, when I was an ambassador to go to Nairobi, I was in Somalia. But unfortunately, things couldn't materialize. But now, if at all I get an opportunity of going abroad, I shall be visiting all the institutions, their organizations, their temples, because I am a member of this Krishna consciousness movement, life member. I have canvassed. I have just put a word to some of my friends to become members of Krishna consciousness. And I would like you to become a member, others also to become. Srila Prabhupada interjected, thanking Mr. Rao for his promotion of our society. He was explaining, Imam Rajarishi Vido. If the big politicians, head of the state, they understand, Yad Yad Archati Shreya Lokas Tad Anuvarte. Others will follow. Heartened, Mr. Rao speaking, inviting the members of the press to attend a lecture by Prabhupada later in the evening. Being a politician, he took the opportunity for a little self-promotion, and in due course revealed himself to be more than a little hazy on what Krishna consciousness really is. Who is speaking to you? Not a rich man, a man who comes from a humble family, the man who was born in a tilt-roofed house. So I have never changed. Among my friends, you have seen my friend sitting here, and also the village which I come from. He has seen there I was staying, and where I am staying now, but I have not changed. But at the same time, I have not forgotten my religion. I have not changed my faith. Many people say, you must know that I drink. I am a drunkard. I am a troublemaker. No, sometimes in society it becomes necessary. I am not a sadhu. I am not a sannyasi. I have not renounced the world. Many of you have drunk with me, some of you at least. So what? I am a sinner? If I remember my religion, I pray my God. If I pray my Lord, no, I could not dupe anybody. Do not cheat anybody. Do not harm anybody. Do not harm anybody. That's what I have been following. That is why I think my God has been very kind to me. That is why, because of Lord Krishna, all of you have been very kind to me throughout. Can you imagine a poor man born in Can you imagine a poor man born in a poor family winning 4 elections without money? People send lakhs. Lord knows in 1952 how much money I have spent. 2,000 rupees. In 58, 57, maybe 1,200 rupees. 62, maybe 40 to 45,000. Of course, 67 was expensive for me. I had to sell away my humble house. So this is all faith. Faith in God, faith in country. That is patriotism. Without patriotism, we talk and yap a lot. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? My country, no other country. This is my country. This is Desha Bhakta. All people say that, you know. My religion is my religion. That is my bhakti. But my country comes first. That is called patriotism. In Urdu, it is said, we will die for the nation one day. If you remember, my friends, it was one of those in 1962 offered to join as a soldier against Chinese aggression. Not only offered, I have submitted my resignation to Jawaharlal Nehru, which was not accepted because of certain problems at that time. Because of my age and also the bilateral talks, Colombo proposals came. Never mind, that should be the spirit among us, and particularly youngsters. They must not forget their religion. They must not forget their country. So anyway, leaders come and go. We all come and go. I am not a leader. Please don't put me as a leader. I am one of the humblest workers in this country. I am working from the humblest section of society also. The leaders come and go, but the country remains. Srila Prabhupada showed no sign of perturbation at Mr. Rao's skewed ideas of bhakti and allowed the conference to close. He retired to the house where the preparations for his talk on Bhagavad Gita were completed. Mr. Rao's garden has a large lawn with a small decorated stage at one end, which he uses for making speeches. Chairs were placed in neat rows before it, and as darkness intruded, floodlights came on, illuminating the whole area. Srila Prabhupada came out to deliver a dynamic talk before a small audience comprising mainly of Mr. Rao's relatives and friends. Prabhupada stressed the need for spiritual education, criticized the fact that there are no educational institutions to teach the difference between the body and the soul, and condemned false interpretations of Bhagavad Gita. He warned of the dangers of association with the modes of material nature, reminding his many well-to-do audience of the precariousness of their position. He told them that it is the defect of modern civilization, atheistic civilization, eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. This is not very good position. Today I may be in a good position. I may be a millionaire. I may be prime minister. But when death will come, it'll take everything from you, and it will oblige you to go to a species form of life which you cannot deny. At the end of the 40-minute lecture, he asked for questions, but only one was forthcoming. Prabhu Vivekananda asked, also stated, "Awake, arise. Stop not until the goal is reached." What goal did he preach? "Ask him," Srila Prabhupada replied dryly. "I do not know." Midst laughter from his audience, he continued, "Call Vivekananda and ask him." "You are a devotee of Vivekananda. You do not know." What did he mean? What kind of devotee are you? You are asking me what? You do not know what is going on? He does not know Vivekananda, and he is devotee of Vivekananda. This is not good. You must know what Vivekananda said. What is the ultimate goal of life, and you must be intelligent. How are we speaking of Krishna and the Supreme Person? Mata Paratam Nanyat. So there is no need of Vivekananda when the Supreme Person is speaking accepted by all. The Bhagavad Gita is said, you are accepted by authorities, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, and we have to accept authority who is accepted by authorities. Vyasadeva, Narada, Asita, Devala, Ramanuja, Madhavacharya, Chaitanya, even Sankaracharya, they have accepted Krishna as the supreme authority. And you take the authority's statement, don't go elsewhere, then you'll be misled. When the supreme authority is speaking, take it and apply it. You'll be happy. Hare Krishna. Then that brought the program to a close. Mr. Rao was extremely happy with the evening's events, and after coming to see Srila Prabhupada at the temple, he escorted him to his car. Prabhupada arrived at the temple quite late and took rest at 10:30 p.m. Prabhupada's sitting room has a doorway opening to a small balcony which overlooks the temple room. Since work on it is still in progress, the doors are not yet fitted. The doorway is concealed by red velvet, contains curtains, but any noise from the temple room transmits straight into Prabhupada's room. I was in the sitting room just after completing Prabhupada's evening massage when I heard the strains of a vibrant kirtan, punctuated with the cries of excited devotees coming from the temple room. Parting the velvet curtains, I looked down and was surprised to see Lord Jagannath come marching in through the main entrance. The South Indian Brahmanas were assisting the Lord by holding his arms as they walked with him, side-by-side motion, across the checkered marble floor to a spot just in front of the altars. A group of our men, led by Mahamsa and Yasodhananda Maharaj, leapt and danced, beating madungas and kartals, as one by one Lord Balaram and Lady Subhadra came in to join them. As each of the Transcendental trio entered, and rocking and swaying, made their way to the front of the deity room balcony, the devotees and a growing cloud of curious onlookers became more and more elated. The deities were beautiful, each standing 3 feet high. They were carved by the same artisan who built the main deities at Jagannath Puri. As they stood in line waiting to be hauled over the balcony balustrades up to the deity room, the devotees gathered in front of them and unleashed their youthful exuberance. Their enthusiasm for the holy name soon swept the normally staid, middle-aged South Indian Brahmanas into a thrall, and they began to clap, sing, and dance. As the chanting increased in intensity, one of the visitors, a bearded man with long gray hair, abruptly stopped, standing stock still. His body stiffened, and he threw his head back, rolling back and forth from side to side. Baring his teeth like a big cat, he clawed the air with his outstretched arms, seemingly oblivious to his surroundings. He remained in this memorized state for several minutes, his eyes widened and unblinking, and as he repeatedly snarled and cleaved the air, our devotees, a bit bemused by his exhibition, nonetheless continued their energetic dancing and chanting. Suddenly, reaching an apparent peak of entrancement, the Brahmana fell stunned to the floor. His compatriots quickly gathered around him and after a minute helped him to his feet. He was uninjured and still wrapped in the kirtan. The Pandas then all abandoned their sedate dignity and wholeheartedly joined in the chanting and dancing, raising their arms and voices, even leaping high in the air with their youthful hosts. When the kirtan finally ended, the deities were taken into the deity room, ready for their installation tomorrow. I found out later that the bearded Brahmin is a pujari of Lord Nrsingadev in Bangalore. So we find that even the people who are a bit staid and a bit conservative, when the chanting of the holy names goes on, they may jump in ecstasy and chant the holy names. So quite often we have the things with Brahmins where they do the pujas, but Prabhupada said the most important part is to do the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Now, of course, we bring those because the pujas are important, and some people like the pujas, but we don't do the puja without the chanting of the holy names. So we have the pujas that came in other ages. We have the deity worship that came in other ages. The importance is the chanting of the holy names. We don't just put deeds on display without any explanation, without any worship, without chanting. We chant the holy names of the Lord to show that Krishna is Archa Vigraha. He's not just a statue. He's the Lord. And so we do these practices, but the emphasis is on the chanting of the holy names. And this is what Prabhupada came to show. We don't disrespect the we don't disrespect the people who do pujas, but we make sure to know that the main focal point is the chanting of holy names. When we're in a group and we have the kirtan, and when we're alone, Krishna says of sacrifices, I am the chanting of holy names japa, and so we chant on our beads when we're alone. So the important point is Prabhupada is saying here that the knowledge is given evam parampara praptam imam, that it's given in disciplic succession. It's important where Krishna says in the 34th verse of the 4th chapter, Tat vidipani prashnena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti tegyanam Gnanivas Tattvadarshanaha, that one should approach the self-realized spiritual master, inquire submissively from him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge to you because he's seen the truth. So that's important, to find the self-realized spiritual master. So the self-realized spiritual master doesn't need to come into succession. He does, because otherwise somebody may be telling you what they say. It was mentioned earlier that Rupa Goswami says that someone who appears to be practicing love of God but isn't in touch with the Shruti, Smriti, and Puranadi, it just becomes a disturbance. People give speculated ideas about spiritual life and devotion, and then imagine that they're a realized soul. So it is important to have the realized soul, but the knowledge still has to come in disciplic succession. We have to check Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Are they all in line? If somebody's making up new philosophy, that doesn't mean he's more advanced. It means he's making up new philosophy. So we have to understand the spiritual master and the scriptures to understand what is actually bona fide and what is relevant for this age, the chanting of the holy names, and not look at the difficult processes. That the main thing that we do, we may do other processes with it, but the main thing is the chanting of holy names. We have the Mangal Artik, we have the greeting of deities, we go down to the beach, and what do we do in all these times? What do we have? Kirtan. When we have the deity, when we go out into the public, we bring Lord Jagannath on Rath Yatra, but when they do the Harinama, Kirtan is glorification, and going in public is called Sankirtan, complete glorification. We notice that Lord Chaitanya did this. He took a little walk in India. Where did he go? All the way to the bottom and all the way to the top. You know any devotees who've done this? The temple president Laguna Beach has done this. Tukaram is a disciple of Lokanath Swami, and they do the parikrama all the way around India, right? It's called the Padayatra. Padayatra, does that mean they go by plane or by train? Which is it? Which does pada mean, plane or train? Means feet, right? Takes a little longer, right? You go around India by the plane, but you might not be able to preach to anybody and give them the holy name along the way. And the same with the train, it goes by and you wave to people, but going by foot, that takes a little while, especially when you stop at villages to do kirtan. But Lord Jesus did this today because we follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, and when we practice our spiritual life, we know different people may have different gurus, but we follow our guru. Just like if you've been to the doctor and he's given you instructions in medicine, there may be other doctors who advise different people, but you need to get the advice from your doctor about your condition. So in this way, we follow what Prabhupada says, and we follow it in the disciplic succession. Or do we just check random information on the internet? This may shock you, especially some of you may have a certain faith. Some people have this faith, and it isn't exactly true. The faith is that anything that's on the internet is that true? There is much information on the internet, and some of it is true, but some of it you fact check it isn't true. So what you do is find a source that's giving the facts, instead of go to something that sometimes it's facts and sometimes it's manufactured. Many things you'll see on there. They like the South African Elon Musk, and they say all kinds of good, bad things that he did are put on the internet that he never actually did. He didn't buy ABC. He did certain things he didn't do. So, but it doesn't matter to us what he did. It's important to us what Prabhupada did, what Lord Chaitanya did, and what we can do in Krishna's pastimes. So we'll stop there. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment? This was given in Durban. If we were in Réunion Island or Paris, class would have to be given in French.